Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending our webinar. My name is Desmond Byrne from A Refill Assistant and RX Mobility. I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds or so before I start. So just give us a few moments to give people a chance to join us, because quite a few registered. Talk a little bit about the company first, just to tell you what we're doing. Really, we have focused on technology and advertising solutions for compounding, long-term care and community pharmacies. All of our solutions are focused around improving pharmacies' workflow, improving their patients' adherence, and helping pharmacies get more patients into the business. And we've been a partner of PCCA now for over 5 years, and we're proud to count many community pharmacies as our customers, and I'm just showing you a couple of them here. So many of you know us for just being a mobile app called RX Mobility, but over the last 12-18 months, we've been investing heavily in websites, mobile app, and in advertising. And now we have a full suite of products which are really optimized for community pharmacy. It's not a cookie cutter approach. It's a very tailored approach. It's about improving workflow, improving adherence, and getting your business out into the community. In one sense, we're sort of like a digital pharmacist, but a more focused and of course, I would say a much better version of digital pharmacist. So I'm just going to go in and I've set up a few things here, and I'm going to walk through a couple of things for the training. And so firstly, the left-hand side of the screen is the pharmacist view. This is the view for the pharmacy, and on the right-hand side of the screen is the patient mobile app. So the left-hand side is a portal, and the right-hand side is the mobile app as the patient would see it. I'm going to walk through various things on this portal very quickly, just to give you a quick overview of them, and then I'll go into more details later on. But the portal is set up like this here, whereby it's got orders, mobile orders, website orders, refill reminders, messages, statistics, and then settings. In the settings, then it's subdivided into other sections, including billing, our referral program, and audit log, and the ability to recover accounts. So that's sort of an overview of the portal. And then on the mobile app side itself, just to go through that real quick. So what is the patient view? The first thing to notice is the top left-hand side is this little gear icon. And this little gear icon here is where the patient can manage information about themselves and upgrading from an old phone, or close their account, or set up notifications about pharmacy news. So if they want to manage patients, they, for example, just click manage patients. They have to enter the PIN number to get into this section, and then they can add additional patients here just by clicking on the plus sign. If they want to update patient information, all they need to do is click on the actual patient, update it. And indeed, if they want to delete a patient, they hit on the bin trash can icon. So that's the settings. The dose reminder section is for patients to self-manage dose reminders. It is backed up to the cloud, so if a patient does lose a phone, or loses their PIN or something, then this is backed up, but you don't, as a pharmacy, get access to the information or help manage it. So if they want to add in a medication name, and just put in one, and they can set up frequencies of daily, weekly, recurring, or on specific dates. I'm just going to set up a daily one, and I'm just going to do 8:30 in the morning, and done. That's my reminder set up for that particular, for myself. And I've got med one, taking one of them daily at 8:30. And again, if I just want to delete it, just delete it and remove the reminder, and that's done. In messages is an area where the patient gets to see every single message that's coming in from the pharmacy. So two types of messages in our system. One are the messages that are coming in from the pharmacy about a script, and the other type of message is a general message, a marketing message that gets sent to everybody using the app. So all of these messages appear here. They're slightly different icons, just to show you what the different types of messages are. So an order completion message has a little tick box. Processing started has an egg timer. Refill reminder has a little exclamation mark. And then there is the marketing messages, which are these ones down here. I'll just mouse over it, which are, say, snow day, closed tomorrow. And that is the marketing message that gets sent through to everybody that has the app. Information is set up basically with your pharmacy information, your opening hours, address, your services page, all that type of information. It also connects into a map on the app, so if a patient wants to get driving directions, they can do so just by clicking on the Show on Map icon. And then the refill section, and this is probably the main section, the refill prescription section. This is the main sort of part of the application. That's why I've left to last, because we're going to talk about it a little bit as we walk through this. But in here, you can have as many patients as you wish per app, and as many scripts by patient. And the patient can have an overview of the different patients and different prescriptions that have come in, and they can submit new orders from in here. And we're going to do stuff with that a little bit later on. So I have a few scenarios set up that I just wanted to talk about. I'll leave both of these screens open. And the first scenario is, is an example of what would typically happen when a refill has been requested after receiving a reminder. So a refill reminder has been sent to the patient. It comes in as a push message into the app, and what are the sort of the next steps, if you like. As I said, I'll talk about PK a little bit after this. So, but this does dovetail into that. So the first one I'm going to look at, if you've got a big long list here, you can just start filtering down by looking for any status. And here I have one where the refill has been requested. So refill requested specifically means a reminder went out and a refill has been requested. So the patient has sent through a refill, and we can see the details associated with that refill by pressing on view. And here's all of the details associated with it. So a couple of things to highlight that we're going to be that we've been making changes on. One, the payment method, of course, is defined by you on setup, as is the delivery, as is the collection method. Both of those can now be forced to completion. In other words, the patient must pick a collection method or a payment method. But prior to that, that wasn't necessary. And also, increasingly, we're finding pharmacies have started to use our configurable fields, and the configurable fields are set up according to what your workflow is. So recently, I had someone ask me, for regulatory reasons, could they put in information about any healthcare changes that occurred with the patient and that they should be listed. And so I've put a couple of items in here on this particular order. So just to give you a feeling for what can actually be done. And as we scroll down, there's a couple of things to highlight. There's the refill scheduler, which only gets triggered when we mark the item as completed or when you dispense the item. And then below that, then there are the messaging component. So your ability to add a custom message or to append an internal note, to mark as processing, to mark the script as complete, or indeed to reject the actual script. So what we can see here is below that, there's an order history. So everybody and everything that's touched this particular script will appear below here. So I'm just going to mark the item as complete because we're going to dispense it. Again, if you dispense it in PK, this happens automatically. So the item is dispensed and marked as complete, and the patient will automatically get a push message telling them that the item has been completed and it is ready for, in this case, it's been mailed. So if I want to view it, I just open it. If I want to dismiss it, I'm just going to dismiss it, and that will close it off down. Now, once I do that, then the refill scheduler gets set up. And in this particular instance, the day supply is 30 days and the pharmacy's lead time is 2. So that's now operational. It's highlighted in a green color because no refill is yet due. It'll turn red if the patient is past due. So I'm going to do a couple of things here around messaging. I'm going to add an internal note for myself and note that a patient had side effects. And I'm just going to post that as an internal note. That's just for internal purposes. And then I'm going to add a message that I'm going to go back to the patient directly and say, can you tell me more details about the side effects? And I'm going to send that message, and that's gone to the patient. And again, it comes in as a push message, and the patient, all it would do is to click view on that message. It'll open up the relevant script. They can see that on top of the top of the details page that the order has been mailed, and therefore the script is completed. All of the details associated with the order are here. And as they scroll down the screen, you can see the timeline associated with the script and the messages that we have just sent to that patient. And in here, the patient can actually reply to you, and that will appear then in the portal also. They are just going to put in they are getting bad. And I'll send that to the by the patient, and it'll come in here under the mobile orders. You will see that there is a flag, new status. Again, if you've got lots of them, you may want to just filter down. You'll see there's a new message status. And if I press view on that and scroll down, we can see the message for the patient. So that's the sort of sequence that could occur when the refill reminder gets sent out. You dispense the item, everything's on time, but the patient has, a question or needs to ask you something. Then that's a scenario for that. Another typical scenario is when the refill reminder is not acted on by the patient. And where you get an overview of what that looks like is in this refills tab here. This is in effect a refill reminders tab, and it shows you an overview of everything that's outstanding in terms of refill reminders. So there's a couple of different statuses here. As you can see, we have 2 in red, overdue, the top 2, and those 2 are over 1 day past due. Then there is a refill was requested, which is the one we just processed for Jane Doe. So Jane requested a refill, and we've completed that refill now. Below that, on the 4th line item, is that a patient is overdue by less than 24 hours. So that was 8 hours ago they were sent a reminder, so it's flagged as a sort of a yellow-orange. And then the last one here is that there is another refill reminder due to be sent out to Jane Doe on August 13th, so just under 4 weeks from now. So if you go back to you can actually process the orders from in here if you wish to do so. So for example, I'm going to look at the Jameson one from in here. He is overdue, and if I scroll down, I can see that everything here is in red, indicating that it's overdue. And he became overdue 3 days ago, was highlighted here. So, a workflow that we see being used quite a bit is, instead of calling to give a second reminder, is that the pharmacy sends a second message, and it can contain information that you want to send them, and the information can be, refill overdue, please submit. And then that gets sent as a second refill reminder to the patient. You can see it coming in here, and if on the phone on the right hand side, and if I were to view that as a patient, you can see the status is refill is due, and scroll down. Then all I have to do is press that flashing button, which is press the refill button, and that will bring me through to the refill page. I can update certain information here if it makes sense to do so, and then I just press refill and we're done. And I can see view the orders, and that refill has been requested, and it'll appear under the mobile order screen. Something as you get really busy to highlight is on the mobile order screen as well, you can actually send the same message to multiple patients simultaneously about their script. So for example, there's two here, which is Jim Brown and Doug Byrne, and both of them are overdue. And as I start selecting them on this page, you'll see a blue button appear at the bottom. I've selected two orders, and I can send a message to both of those patients simultaneously and just say, again, refill overdue, please submit. And that's it. And that'll go to those those two patients simultaneously, saving you, an awful lot of time and effort. If you wish, there is the ability to actually manually override the refills. So, for example, let's say for this pet, there is something has been said that, or got a message, or that maybe they want to not refill any longer, or they want to change something associated with the refill, then it's very easy to do that. You edit it, and you can edit that refill in any way you want. You can change the day supply, you can change the lead time, when the countdown starts, and when the patient will receive the notification, and when the item becomes overdue. So, like for example, maybe you decided that the refill should be a 45-day supply, and therefore that changes all of the parameters about when the reminder is actually sent, and you might change the countdown date. But note that the first time when you do this, that's fine, but once a refill comes in, and if you're using PK, then that day supply will override it, even if you sent it manually here. Typically, the most common reason for actually editing this is for items that are on a longer lead time in the pharmacy, or maybe the delivery lead time is longer for that particular patient, and therefore you'd actually customize the lead time. So whilst we set up the app with a particular lead time when we're setting everything up for you, typically it's somewhere between 2 and 5 days. But if for some reason you want to change that, you can change that by script individually, and that's probably the most frequent change that gets made. And then I'll just change that off, and then that'll change it for all subsequent scripts. So I'm on 45-day refill, 45-day supply, and my lead time is 6 days. Therefore, the patient will receive a notification on June 27th, and the refill becomes overdue on August 2nd. So that's a useful facility and tool to have in place. So one of the things I was going to do is to enter are there any questions from anybody? Any questions? I have a funny feeling some people are definitely having a difficult time is not working and not able to get in. And I apologize for that. There seems to be quite a few people unable to get into this webinar. And if that is the case, I will I will run it again, so apologies for that. But I will continue it as it is being recorded. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to create a new script for a patient called new pet. So let's have a look at this new pet patient. So you press refill a prescription in the app, and we're going to put in a new order because we don't have a refill reminder here. So we're just going to put in a new order, and we're going to do it for we're going to add a patient, and we're just going to say a new patient called Jane, and I'm just going to leave that date of birth and put in an address and a caregiver. Add that patient. So if I want to add a new order, then I can just put in an initial medication name. So meds 2. I won't have, or may have, or may not have an RX number at this point in time. I will put in a day's supply. If they wish to attach a photograph, then they can do so. And when they do so, then I'm going to just pick the camera and I'm just going to take a picture of this particular script here. And I'll take that. Okay. So it requests a delivery address and payment. I'm just going to just ignore that for a second. Have there any changes to your medication or health since your last refill? I'm going to put in yes. And I'm going to list those changes. So not sleeping. And we can put in a note. So thank you, just as a note. And we press done, submit order. Now we've set this particular one up so that the patient must select a delivery method and must select a payment method. So I'm going to do pick up in store, and on payment we're going to say use credit card on file. And now we can submit the order. I'm going to view that order, and there's the order has been sent. So again, you go back to the mobile orders here, and we have a new flag in. We have a new script has come in from this patient Jane here. If the patient were to update the order, so what they could do is they could change details, and they could press update the order, and they might want to change, let's just change the RX number. Then they can do that, and they can save those changes. And what happens in the portal is that the actual script will change from new to updated. And if I press on the script itself and I scroll down to the order history, we can see that the patient submitted an order at 3:56 but made a change on 3:57. And if I click that little link, see changes beside it, we can see that the patient Jane changed the RX number from 123456 to a new value. So we can see what happened. So patients can change things remotely on the orders, and you will get a notification about that. If the patient wishes, in the same thing here, we want to look at the details of this the script. The patient can also submit a message and start the process of sending a message without necessarily the pharmacy sending anything to that patient. And she, in this case, she may say, sorry, wrong RX number. And we'll just send that. And again, if we look at that in the portal and just go out to the mobile orders, we will see that there's a new message status for the patient Jane. And if I were to view that, then, and again scroll down, we can see that this message came in, sorry, wrong X number has come in from Jane. So this order's come in, we're happy with it. I'm going to just mark it as processing. The pharmacy is processing your order. That simulates effectively what will happen with PK. And then we'll just mark it as complete. And then the order is completed. And in this case, the patient requests to pick it up. So picked up that information, pick up in store. So your order is ready for pickup. And the patient can just dismiss that and done. So let's just also have a look at a couple of things that you can do in here around this particular item. So one thing you can do is you can change the RX number. So if it's empty or it's the wrong RX number, and if you are, for example, using PK, then you can actually put in the correct RX number here. And once you put in the RX number, what happens is it gets updated, but our systems automatically pull PK to verify that the RX number is valid and sets the whole process in train again. You can also clear notes, and they are actually automatically cleared from one refill to the next. So you can clear that note. And that also you can do. And lastly, in here, you can edit the refill schedule. So there was a refill schedule. It has been set up because we marked the item as completed, but maybe it's a longer lead time item and you want to change it to a 40-day, longer lead time item. You want to change the lead time to a custom lead time. And we're just going to say it's 5 days. And that will change then when the actual notification gets sent out. So 30-day supply, 5-day lead time. So the notification gets sent out in 25 days. So on August 10, and the refill becomes overdue on August 15. So they're the primary changes that you can actually make on the pharmacy portal. Going into then the website. The website orders are a key component of this. I mean, if you're using our website, you don't have to know how to do this piece of it other than to process the orders, but the website are a key component. So what you can do is, as part of the program, is you can actually put a plugin onto your website for two things. One is a refill form and the other is a script transfer request form. And it's as simple as just copying and pasting that piece of text. You tell your developer to embed it in an iframe. They'll know to do that when they see it. And important to say, they don't need any special server or security or everything because we take care of that. So just copy and paste that and send it. And if you want to put a script transfer request form on your site, again, copy it, paste it, and send it to the developer, and that's done. That's how easy that is. So there is a relatively new feature I just wanted to show you. It's an RX transfer request. So I'm just going to go into that. So this one has come in. So again, just maybe there's lots of these things coming in, but we're on a transfer request. Fabrizio McMahon has sent one in. And if I view it, then I can see information that's come in from Fabrizio, the patient. So he's looking to transfer the actual the script from CVS. He's given us the CVS phone number. He's put in contact information for himself. Both his email and phone number are there, and the order status is marked as transferring. What you can, the process that we've set up for this is that if you're satisfied that it's to be transferred in, and you know you've done the validation, etc. on your end, then you can just press finish transfer. And what that allows you to do is to make the script transfer request into a new script, and it changes the order status to new. So now you have a new order status. With the website, none of these buttons work in terms of communicating to patients. They do work in terms of, noting what the status of a script is. So once you dispensed it, maybe you want to mark it as complete, and then that's that's done, and then you know it's completed. So go back to other parts of the website orders. I had a second one in from Jordan Montana, on a particular script number. This has come in. So again, if the script number is valid in PK along with that patient's date of birth, then it will go into your to-do list in PK software. And none of these buttons will actually cause a message to be sent to that particular patient, because it's not possible to do so via a particular website. So again, these buttons are more for your information to just say, right, that item is completed. Okay, and by the way, if PK is connected, then that'll be marked as completed automatically by PK. So that's the two main website functions. What I was going to talk about now a little bit is go back out to the PowerPoint, and I am going to talk about the website form. So, and how it can be the form in both the website and the app, and how it can be figured. So there's a couple of different forms that we can have in the mobile app. One is a quick refill form. It is literally an RX number and a date of birth, and the other one is a detailed refill form. Increasingly, I think about 90% of our customers, maybe even more, now use a detailed refill form because it gets more information from that particular patient. These are the items that we can configure and change on the refill form. There's a lot of different things that can be done. Things can be added and removed, and a lot of this detail, all of this detail is actually in the training manual, which will be distributed after this webinar. So yeah, you can change everything from, add or remove fields like the medication name, the RX number, photo upload. The delivery details can be configured by you when we set it up. So whatever the delivery methodology you have can be configured. And we can also force the patient to select a delivery method before submitting a script. Payment details are the same. They're defined during setup. And again, a patient can be forced to select a payment methodology. There are 2 custom fields which are there to be aligned to your pharmacy. They can pretty much say anything that you want them to say, and they can either have a drop-down menu with things like a yes or a no, or a free text search. So, this one up here, if you need supplements with your prescription, please enter the supplement name. Or here's another one below that, please enter a flavor, and it's a drop-down menu of chicken or strawberry. So you can have whatever you want on that particular configurable fields. So what I'd like to go through now is I was going to go into some elements of the statistics and the on the portal, and just go through those a little bit. And so basically the statistics are an overview of everything, how everything is operational for you. So it gives you an overview of new orders and refill requests from patients, and it maps it out. So you've got a top of the chart is the last 30 days of orders and refills coming in. So you can see today that there were 6 new orders and 2 refill requests. Below that, there's orders and refills over the last 4 months. This is a heat map, which means that the darker the color, the more active events occurred. So if we go into July and July 10th, for example, if I mouse over it, you see there's 2 orders, and on July 16th, there were 8 orders. Refill reminders are below that. So this is a number of refill reminders generated in the last year that are due or complete. So you can see that I have in July 2 due and 2 complete in July, and then I have 3 due in August. The details of the number of active users by platform are listed then below that. So active users are the number of people that engage with the app by month. So on July 19th, the number of active users are 3, and the three active users have been 3 instances of the app that I've had in preparation for this webinar. The order refills by time of day. So this is an overview of when people are submitting orders and refills. So we can see there's a ramp up to about 9 a.m. and then it sort of peters out in the afternoon, nothing at 5 or 6 p.m. and then early evening there's a couple of orders and refills, and below that then finally is the month-over-month usage of the tool. Okay, so that brings me to settings, and in settings I just wanted to show you a couple of things because this is all new. Firstly, there's billing. Billing's been set up quite a bit differently. And in here, you can see everything associated with your billing. You can view invoices. You can view all of previous invoices. So here, for example, you can change billing details in here. You can update payment method from within here. You can see what subscriptions you have purchased from us. You can add other items. So for example, here you can add the mobile app advertising campaign. So you're able to see the different types of plans that you have from Refill Assistant. If you ever do a Facebook campaign with us, then you'll see the social advertising subscription is active, and you'll be asked to set up the Facebook campaign setup, and that's where you start setting it up by pressing that button there. We've also put in a Refill referral program. So if you're happy with us and you like what we do, please send out a reference for us to any of your colleagues in the industry. We'd be delighted. They'll get their first month free, and you get a 1-month discount on your fees, or $249 discount for your fee. And probably the most important one that we get asked about more recently has been the recovery, export, and locked accounts. So what happens here is a patient has, in effect, forgotten their PIN, or maybe have changed, upgraded their phone, and they're locked out of their account. So what do they do? And what do you do? Well, you press whatever the customer's coming in asking you to do. You can press one of these buttons and it brings you through the process. So let's say they've changed their phone, and we're going to look for a patient. So let's say it's Doe is the surname. So we have an account here, last active 25 seconds ago, and it's got a couple of different patients on it. And it's the one that I'm using. It's the one I'm going to get the recovery code for. And then there's an account that was closed a little while back, and it's not that person. So this is the one we'd create the recovery code for, is this one here. So if I create that recovery code, I will get asked a question. Are you sure you're talking to the right person? And if yes, then create recovery code. And what happens is that the patient, what I'm going to do is I am going to delete this app. Okay, so I'll have to delete that. And then I am going to download the app again. And this is slightly different to the App Store because this is a test build, if you like, of our mobile app. I'm going to install this version of it here. And as you can see, that this code is only valid for 15 minutes. So in effect, that person who has lost their PIN or upgraded their phone would want to be in front of you to do this, or on the phone. What they have to do is that they press that button at the bottom of the screen, recover your existing account. So recover the existing account. They set up a new PIN number, and new PIN number gets re-entered. And then they put in this account number. And when I put that account number in, I just press recover and continue to home, press allow notifications, and done. And everything that is on our servers is synchronized back with the app, including dose reminders and all the refill and all prescription history. Everything is just there, and so they don't need to start afresh. Now, of course, if they lose their PIN or want to just start afresh, they can do so. The patient don't need to do it this way, but this is a way of recovering absolutely everything. So that's an important one. We get asked that quite a bit, and it is useful to know. And then the other thing that's useful that's starting to be used extensively are the audit logs. And the audit log allows you to audit everything that's occurred in the app over since its inception. So you can see all of these events, like here's a recovery of an account, which is what I just did. Created a recovery code, which again I just did. A pharmacist viewed an order there. That's that third one, which we were doing during this webinar. But you can filter down all these events according to, time for when did it occur. Let's say in the past day, staff actions, administrative actions, or customer actions. So in this case, I'm just going to check for has anyone created a recovery code and apply those filters, and I can see yes, it's occurred 3 times, and all 3 times were today for that pharmacy. One was this morning at 9:45 a.m. Then there was one at 1 p.m. and just now at 4:12 p.m. So that's that recovery code. So there's that's an overview of the actual portal itself. Is there any questions on that? Let me just see. There's no questions in. So I'll keep going here, and I'm going to then move over to talk a little bit about PK software. So if you don't use PK, this piece, you can listen in by all means, but this won't apply to you. But what I'm going to do though is show a few slides first related to PK, and then I'm going to go into the portal and show you different angles of using PK. So the first thing to say is that when scripts come from the app or the website, they go into the portal that I've just been showing you. And then a subset of those scripts get entered into PK software, and the subset are valid scripts. So PK will only accept valid scripts. And a valid script is defined as a valid RX number and a valid date of birth associated with it. And that's it. If it doesn't contain those 2 items, then it doesn't go into PK software, and then it just, there's still a transactional event in our portal, but it doesn't go into PK software. So a subset of events go into PK software from the portal. Everything from the app or from the website goes into our portal, and then a subset of valid refills go into PK software. So let's go through a typical scenario, refills in PK. So a patient downloads the app, gets a reminder or inserts just for the first time the refill. The refill is valid. It goes into the to-do list management system in PK. A message automatically goes to the patient that the order has been accepted and queued for processing. Then when you dispense the item, a message goes out and says a script is ready for collection and done. Right? Now, there's a whole variety of different messages around that, and I'm going to show them to you in a little bit of detail. There's messages around it being valid or invalid. So invalid ones are typically a message goes back to the patient that it's an invalid, it's been rejected, and the script is invalid for a particular reason, and it generally goes back saying it's either an RX number or a date of birth. And as I said, invalid scripts do not get entered into the to-do list. And then the valid scripts have different flavors of a valid script. It can be valid and there's no exemptions or no criteria that need to be checked, and it goes straight into your to-do list, and the patient gets a message that the order was queued for processing. Or there are scenarios where the prescription can have, maybe has no expiration, has expired, has no refills remaining, or the patient is attempting to refill too soon. In those 4 scenarios, all of the scripts go into the to-do list, and a message gets back to the patient advising them of an update. So, for example, if the patient is attempting to refill too soon, then a message goes back to the patient that the refill is too soon. Please contact your pharmacy, and it does get entered into your to-do list. In PK, where that appears is in your to-do list and in the script. It just appears as a flag, either RX Mobility or RXM. And you can see those flags there. I'll just mouse over them and you can see them here. So that's how you know it's come from, the mobile app or from your website. Now, how does that sort of appear in our portal? So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go into a different pharmacy that was connected to or is connected to PK Software. And I'm going to look at the orders associated with that pharmacy. So this is not called Desmond's Pharmacy. This is Church Road Pharmacy. And the first thing I wanted to highlight here, because this has happened once or twice recently, is that there is a message displayed here on top of this screen. And that message is a very important message because it is basically saying that it's the app is not connected to PK Software. That there's something amiss, and it's suggesting that you contact PK Software to investigate and verify the integration server is running and is configured correctly. So, sometimes this just happens. It just needs to be switched off and back on again. You might have changed server, or you might have changed the configuration, or something could have happened, and this message pops up. If it does, please contact PCCA immediately. PK support, and ask them just to verify the integration server, and they'll know immediately what to do and they will deal with it. So I'm just going to go through a few scenarios here that I wanted to show you in the portal around refills and how and those refills connect to PK. So I'm just going to look for a particular script number. 43, and this particular script number is I think it's the first one I wanted to look at. It is the first one I wanted to look at, and I want to show you how this works here. So here it is. The patient has submitted. Just 1 second, please. Oh yeah, so at the bottom here, the patient has submitted a new order. They have not received a refill reminder, and so it just assumes it's a new order, but it is a refill. And it's for this particular patient, dog 11-2001, and that's the patient. PK in this instance is labeled robot. So the robot PK Software has actually accepted the order and has come back and synchronized itself with the mobile app. And a couple of things were changed. The patient's name, address, medication, name, and the day supply. So the old value that the patient had submitted into the app were dog 11-2001, Main Street, Dublin, Ohio was the address, meds was the medication, and there was no day supply. And then when PK recognized it as a valid script, it actually synchronized certain information back to the app. One of those was the name was changed, the address was changed, the medication name was changed, and the day supply was updated to 10, being the days that were dispensed. So that was how you know or how you see what happens with PK, and that's the information that gets changed on the app and in our back end. So just click on that again, just so you can see that, because there's the items that get changed. So I'm going to go to another script number. Oh, sorry, the one more thing I just wanted to say. When the item did actually get accepted, it was accepted. It does say the RX number has expired, so it's queued for processing with a note by the robot, but the RX number says expired. So in this particular case, it actually does send a message, like we spoke about a couple of seconds ago, that the RX number has expired. We will contact your physician. And in this particular case, then I think the message that goes out with an expired, so prescription expired, your prescription is expired, we will contact your doctor. It gets sent. So let me go back and have a look at another one I wanted to show you. and it is this one here was an RX that was just rejected. Let me just see if I can find this one that I wanted to click on. So here it is. So this one was rejected. And here we are. So the patient submitted an order and the item was rejected as being an invalid RX number. And again, that message gets sent back to the patient, and you can see it coming from Robot being PK Software in this instance. There was one more I wanted to show you because it has a sequence of a couple of steps in it, and it was the script number 52. I'm going to search for that, and it's the one that was updated. So this one here. So if I want to go down to August 21, and August 21 for the script when it started. So yeah, so here it is. The requests, the refill, a refill. So the patient in this case got a refill reminder. They acted on the refill reminder on August 20th, 2018, and they pressed request refill. The refill was queued for processing by PK, so it was a valid refill and it was accepted, and then it was dispensed. And you can see this is the dispensed line here, and just right beside my mouse. So you can see it got dispensed by PK, and PK updated some information. The next refill was due September 17th. The refills remaining were 8. The quantity prescribed were 10 CAP, and the directions were used as directed. And so the item was completed. And if I just scroll down a bit further, then the patient actually requested a refill again immediately afterwards. And PK Software went back to the patient and via our app and said the RX is refilling too soon. And we send a message to the patient that you're refilling too soon. And the exact message is, this refill is too soon. Please contact your pharmacy. In this particular instance with PK, refilling too soon is 80% of the day supply. That's a definition of refilling too soon. And so that was what I wanted to show you there on that particular script. So you can see how the PK interacts, and you can see it here as being, well, the robot in this particular instance has sent back the actual the message. So I'm just going to go now to a couple of other slides, and then we can tie it up. So refill reminders, basically they are generated using the day supply, just as I showed you a couple of seconds ago. When the refill number is accepted as being a valid script, then we synchronize all this information between the app and PK, including the day supply, and that's used to generate the refill reminder. Use the day supply minus your lab lead time, and then the refill reminder gets sent to the patient. It goes in as a push message, and all they have to do is press refill, and once they do, it goes into the to-do list management system. The order gets accepted, and when you've dispensed it at the point of validation, then a message gets sent to that patient that the item has been dispensed. Now, very important is that you use the make new from old script command in PK Software. That's very important to use that command. So I'm actually getting some questions in now. I apologize. We've had some problems, technical problems with the webinar. A lot of people couldn't get onto it. So I've got a couple of questions, and I'm going to just answer them. I'm going to answer a couple of questions when they come up. There's a couple there, and I'm just going to answer them towards the end, if that's okay. Configuring refill reminders. So the key thing is that the lead time is set up for the refill reminder when we set up the app. You can change it on the fly if necessary. And the refill reminder is equal to day supply minus the actual lead time. So that's a setup and issue at the start, but also you can change it by script, as I showed you earlier on. The Important to highlight, a lot of people haven't been using it, but the website actually does integrate with PK. There is a website component to the app if you just buy the app, and you can actually put this plugin onto your website. It's very easy to do so, and then your website is submitting scripts into PK software. There are a number of different reporting options in PK related to the app. The log of scripts, refill reminder, data mining reports are all linked into RX Mobility and Refill Assistant. So anything coming in from the app or the website can be filtered in or filtered out. Lastly, there's a notes field as well that gets completed. That's why increasingly pharmacies have been modifying the form, the actual refill form in the app and on the website, because these fields now get entered into PK software as a note from the patient, so you can see directly what that patient is saying to you within PK. There's also a label builder in PK that you can use, so you can build labels. Details are in the manual. And then lastly, for PK, for veterinary refills, generally pet date of births are not precisely known. And there's a couple of options, and that we've been working on more, but there's the owner's date of birth in some states must be used. The State Board of Pharmacy mandates that, so therefore that date of birth goes in. Some pharmacies are using the actual pet date of birth and sort of triangulate that with the veterinary surgeon, and they know the exact date of birth. The main option though is to use a default date of birth. The app defaults to 1/1/2000 automatically for any new patient entered, and we can actually put I'll just show you that we can actually put a note in the app as well for veterinary dates of birth. So if I just wanted to press refill in the app, and I wanted to put a new medication in. I think I have it on this one. Let's see. No, I don't have it, but there is a note that actually can be put in which states that the pet's date of birth is 1/1/2000. Please enter it. I must have set this particular app up that way. Or actually, maybe I've just gotten confused where it is. So 1 second, please, and just have a look at that. Oh yeah, there it is. When you're setting up the pet prescriptions, there's a note when they're setting up a new pet that they're to use January 1/2000 as the default date of birth. So that being the default date of birth, then PK have a couple of items that are in the software that have been done. They've added a default date of birth in a utility. So there's a default date of birth for non-human species. Has to be pressed enabled. Again, 1/1/2000 gets entered. And then there is a utility in PK. And if you run that utility, what it does is that if you've got a blank date of birth for any non-human species, then the default date of birth for non-human species gets entered into it. So 1/1/2000. So I've overrun on the timing. I'd like to say thank you very much. I'm going to attempt to answer some of the questions that come in. I apologize, we've had technical problems, and I'm pretty sure that most people haven't been able to get on the webinar. So I can ask a question as follows. So I've been asked a question about what version of PK has those features. It's I think it's 6.0.4.0, although I'll actually verify that. When we're configuring PK, what we do is when we're setting up the app, we get it upgraded to the latest version. And if your PK software has been updated since April of 2018, then it contains all this veterinary features I've just been talking about. I've been asked if I could briefly recap submitting a new prescription request via the app. Can a patient submit a brand new script that has never been filled before by the pharmacy through this platform? So Tamara, yeah, a patient can actually submit a new script, but It doesn't go into PK. That's the first thing. If you're using PK software, and also you may need the original script on file. So yes, technically speaking, a brand new script can actually get sent in by the patient, but you've got to, depending on your State Board of Pharmacy rules, you may have to have the original on file. It doesn't do any e-prescribing. It is more giving you a heads up that a patient has a prescription is going to come in tomorrow or a couple of hours later to collect that particular order. I hope that answered that okay for you. So if a patient is saying that they are not seeing the specific RX that they want refilled in our app, what do we do? Our pharmacy uses PK. So what they should do is let me just show you here. They press the refill button. They put in a new script. They put in a new order. In this case, pick the patient. They can just enter in the script number, because it won't necessarily appear there. It has to go in. The patient has to enter in the script, the first refill at the first time, the refill in the first time, and that's it. That's all they need to do, and just fill out the rest of the form. But they just got to put in that RX number, and then the app will actually synchronize. If they don't do that first step, then the app just doesn't know that there is a script in PK software for RX number, in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have a question. Do the customizable fields pass through the PK to-do list? Yes, they appear in the notes field in PK. So let me just pull that up for you, where they appear here. So they actually appear in the notes field. My understanding in PK, if you go down very far right-hand side of, basically this is off screen, so you got to pull it onto the on-screen, and then you'll be able to see the RX mobility notes from the patient. And all of that additional information is actually there. The collection method, payment method, whatever we've configured for you actually just appears here, whatever way, including the configurable fields. And let me just see if there's anything else has come in. I think that's all the questions. My apologies that we seem to have had a technical problem with a lot of people had not been able to get on this. I'm going to have to look into that tomorrow. I'll rerun the webinar if necessary. Again, my apologies if you couldn't get on. Otherwise, I hope you found it very useful. I will answer the questions that have come in individually, and anything else, just please let me know. So thank you very much for your time.